Today, I had a lovely dinner date with a $30 million dropshipper. Who would have thought? And this man has scaled his own e-commerce teeth whitening brand to over $1 million a month, a number that you can't even possibly fathom. And I got to see his take on real life ads, websites, and products to see how he tests his products, creates $1 million ads, and creates professional websites that are branded from scratch. So get your pen and paper ready, get your tea and wine, and enjoy this interview.
Jad, if I was meeting you face to face, I mean, we want to just pick at your brain as much as possible. I'm thinking like the first easy question for you, what are your thoughts on abortion? Just keep it simple, though.
Jesus.
I'm just fucking with you. No, I'm not having you answer that. But in case anyone's actually listening to our conversation, I don't know. I mean, we're just having a dinner date here, but I'm curious, since you did scale a teeth whitening brand, Pearl, to $1 million a month, which is absolutely insane. Like, what would you say was the thing that you focused on, or like that you attribute the most to scaling to that level? Was it marketing? Was it CRO? Was it the team that you had in place, your social media?
For us, it was the media buying, to be honest with you. And also, you know, the creative side of things. We had a creatives team, so we had a videographer, and we would have models and influencers come in, and really the angle that we approached the brand with, and it was kind of scroll stopping creatives that we would make. We would have shoots in, funny enough, that we work here in downtown Los Angeles, and we would do the shoots in a conference room. And the conference rooms, they are kind of like fish bowls, so you can just see everything, and move all the furniture and the tables and whatnot, and shoot in there. And then we would have the models like wear goggles, and we would just like splash them with wine, red wine on the face, and then, you know, throw a pen at them, and they would catch it and then kind of put it next to their teeth. That was like the angles that we were approaching to make the creative like much more attractive and scroll stopping back then, because we were competing with a couple other brands. Honestly, it was such a fun project, such a fun brand, and a lot of the, you know, success came from heavy media buying. You know, just being in the ad account daily, testing new strategies, lookalike audiences, custom audiences, so on and so forth.
How I view things as an agency that does run brands, ads for 70 plus brands, I always think that creative is probably 90% of it. I honestly don't even attribute much to media buying strategies anymore, like especially since we use TikTok, and I think TikTok you can scale so just having the most basic structure in the world. So like, yeah, I think nowadays obviously you run your own brands. Would you say creative is like most of your focus nowadays? New angles, new benefits, new hooks? I mean, because even then, back then, you were focusing on making these dramatic hooks. And I noticed that today. Like, a lot of times the best hooks are ones that don't even have anything to do with the product. It's just like a shocking thing where you use too much of the product, or it's like a wow reaction to using the product. So, yeah, where would you say your focus is mainly with your brands?
90% of media buying is going to come down to creatives at this point, and we're moving towards a world where you won't even need media buyers anymore. You're just the platform will do all the media buying for you. You're just gonna have to just insert creatives, and we're seeing that with ACO and dynamic creatives and whatnot. So I think eventually media buying is gonna be obsolete. Like, you won't really need to sit there and build audiences or really optimize and build campaigns.
Are you saying you don't surf scale? You don't spend all day in an ad account and just tweak the budget every single day? That's a very popular strategy nowadays. Or do any of these black hat strategies?
I do still do that, and I have rules that do that as well. But I think we're headed towards a world where it's all about creatives. Like, creatives are going to be something that you're going to have to refresh daily. And we're seeing that with TikTok. You know, TikTok right now, the lifespan of a creative is 4 to 5 days, and then it'll start just fatiguing. So, you know, going from Facebook, where creatives would last for a year, you know, and you didn't have to really switch it up. But now with TikTok, it's just people just want to consume, and it's just the nature of the platform being so fast paced. Like, it's video after video after video, you know what I mean? So, and you can see Facebook and Instagram even adopting that same way of their platform, where you have reels and you have the Facebook reels. Again, it's video after video, and you don't even need to swipe up. It's just like kind of automatically happens. So you won't really need to surf scale or do any of that. It'll just do it for you.
I'd love to get into the nitty gritty, honestly, of creatives, because I think that literally is everything that a brand should focus on. Obviously, you have your offer, your back end, CRO, all that stuff, but I think creatives are just so important. So when you like work with a content creator, I'm very curious is there a certain thing that you want from them usually when you're getting deliverables? Because I know for me, like when I work with a brand, we typically ask a creator to only film usually 2 complete ads, but the big thing that we focus on is them shooting modular content, like shooting 3 different hooks, shooting 3 different problem clips, shooting 3 different, so that we can mix and match, so that we might pay them $200 to film this content, and for them, they don't even have to edit anything. We just literally say like, send us the raw footage, we'll edit it, and we'll make like 20 ads from literally you doing an afternoon work. So do you do something similar where it's more modular instead of focusing on them completing a whole ad for you and having it edited?
Absolutely. The more raw footage we have, the more different hooks we have, the better. We take the same exact approach. And I've always taken that approach, honestly, even back in 2018. I never really cared about final product because I don't really want that. I want the raw footage that I can, mix and match and repurpose. As a brand owner or even an agency, you should always aim for more footage from the same, creator or influencer or model, because then you can just take that and repurpose it. Now you have, with that one raw footage, you have 10 different versions that Facebook or TikTok will optimize for differently. So that is the same approach as us. And I think that's the most efficient approach, rather than just asking for, hey, I want a clean cut video. You can't really do anything because the video is a set video that you can't really kind of chop up or do anything with. So yeah, raw footage that you can repurpose is the way to go, obviously.
From my experience too, when I make content creators edit their raw footage, it's terrible. They don't know what they're doing. Like if you have an actual professional editor that understands marketing, that understands, all right, how to do zoom ins, how to make every frame impactful to text. I mean, I bet you agree. The editing is probably, I would say, almost as important as like the actual content and clips you get. Maybe even more important, the editing.
We always separate those 2 processes, even 3. You have the videographer, or sometimes the creator is a good videographer because they're used to just shooting content. And then the editor is a separate team for us that we send raw footage to. I never really have a creator or a videographer ever edit because I want to really sit down and work with the editor and build the script with them. A creator is not really going to be able to do that. And if they are usually jack of all trades, they're a master of none. So you want them to really focus on their content creation, and that's it.
Since you did scale a brand at 1 million a month, which is something I've never been close to. I mean, I think my best month's maybe 120. And when I got to that level, the amount of supplier issues and inventory and stuff that happens is insane to me. And then figuring out bulk orders and all this amount. So I'm very curious. How do you find a supplier that can first off handle that much inventory? How do you negotiate prices? Are you always negotiating prices? Like bulk orders, keeping track of inventory? I just would like to get your take on suppliers and like how do you find the right one? How do you manage inventory, all that stuff? Or is that even something you focus on? Like, do you have a business partner that handles that for you?
I've done it myself, and I'm very in the weeds when it comes to all that. In terms of finding suppliers, we work with a 3PL in China called Lancel Global, and they basically handle all our shipping in China and in the US. They have a warehouse here in Nevada. We work with them, so they source the product for us. They present us with the different factories, the pricing, the version of the product, colors, the variants, and we always negotiate with the factory based on our monthly volume. We will negotiate and always try to bring the price down, as well as just like paying attention to the shipping rates because those change all the time, given the state of the world. So yeah, we're definitely on top of it, but we do it with the aid of a 3PL. You definitely need someone that is present in China, or a 3PL or an agent that you fully trust to handle that side of the logistics, because it could get very overwhelming and confusing and difficult. But yeah, it's a big part of scaling for sure.
I mean, when you do 1 million a month, that means, I mean, in terms of inventory, I imagine you're selling like 10,000 units a month. For bulk order, what is the most you've ever spent on a bulk order? I can imagine it's an insane amount when you've done that much.
About 800K.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God. I mean, you got bigger balls than me. Now, there was an interesting take that I know we briefly covered before this. I'm still very harped on this. Like, you're a big proponent that people nowadays are very fixated on what's trendy right now. And I think that's a good point. But you got to explain to me this whole boring product thing. Because for me, when you say you should be focused on selling a boring product, I think to myself, why would someone buy a boring product from my store when they can find literally this boring product almost in like 100 different places? You don't want to sell products that are easily accessible in all these different places. So yeah, I'm just very curious about your take with boring products.
I think it's honestly, it's because of the convenience. They're sitting on their couch. They just got served the ad. Product looks amazing. This knife can cut through paper. It can cut through a watermelon. It can cut through anything. Why would I want to go to Target and buy another knife that might not be as good and have to like get off my couch and get in my car and it's cold outside? You know what I mean? So it's just really the convenience. It's kind of just you're the new Amazon, but instead you're serving that client or that customer the ad, and your pitch right there is so convincing. People always want to buy something that they see is beneficial to them, and if you can show them that through your ad and show them that, okay, this product is slightly different than the one you're gonna see in Target, they will convert. So it really depends on the angle that you approach this with. And I've sold stuff as basic as wall paint.
How do you do a hook for wall paint and make it interesting? You have to sell something that is kind of interesting, like to look at and have an ad and present it in an interesting way. Like, how do you market these products?
Here's the thing. I'm not against hopping on trends. Like, I'm not against it, right? Like, I think that if a product is trendy right now and it's making money, if you plugged it in and it's crushing, dude, ride that wave. I'm a big proponent of doing that. But what I've noticed is when I go into the boring niches, like for example, wall paint, and I put a twist on it or an angle, and I make the creative funny and present the product in a catchy, cool way, people are always going to convert, especially the homeowners that always want to improve their house. To answer your question, there's a million ways to really sell paint. Like, for example, one thing we used to use is thumbnails with a turtle coming out of the wall, or like a wall that has like snakes in it, right? And then be like, okay, well, you should take care of your wall, you should cover it, you should fix it, and then paint it. And then we would just go into the product, you know, and then we would put a different angle on our products and promote like a healthy, non-toxic type of paint that you can use at home, etc., so on and so forth. A lot of people are like, oh damn, I haven't seen this product ever, so, and it looks good, it's priced well, the offer is amazing, I'm gonna buy it. You know, so they convert.
I know oddly satisfying is a big thing that people love in ads. When you look at ad inspiration, I think that's where a lot of people do product research. How often are you seeing very basic products? It's very rare. These products just don't get advertised.
It's something I like to really focus on because it allows me to basically continuously run the product without having any ups and downs, competition, people ripping my product. It's just not a sexy product. Typically what I see, jewelry, like cool things, cool, young, hip things. But I want to sell to the 65-year-olds and mothers that are sewing.
That's so responsible of you. You're thinking of the target persona first. Oh, you gotta go with the people that have the most disposable income and sell what they want. How do you find out what 65-year-old people want? Do you first see a product, you're like, I want to sell it, or do you think of the persona first? Because it sounds like you're talking about the persona first, like, oh, I want to sell products that 60-year-olds want.
I do both. Some brands, I've looked at products, I'm like, I can do this way better. And sometimes some other products, like this niche is so underserved. What are products that I can serve to that audience and scale? And it would be, you know, something, like I said, very boring, very just like not many people want to sell, and I'll just like go into that niche and slowly build a brand and scale it.
Well, speaking of which, I want to show you some products and I want to get your take on them so to see if you would be interested in selling them. Because if you're interested after seeing an ad of paint and selling paint, I am very curious what your thoughts are going to be on these. I want you to give me your take if you would sell this or not. This is an eye massager, heating eye massager. A lot of people would say this is very saturated, but it is a product, obviously a health product, solves a problem. Good for decompressing after a long day. Also help probably with eye bags a little bit. I'm sure there's some good benefits here. So when you see a product like this, what sort of is your first thoughts?
I don't really look at how trending the product is, even though I do recommend doing that. I look at more the numbers. I'm more interested in the numbers, meaning how much is it going to cost? What's my landing cost for this product? What's my gross margin? Making sure, you know, the product works. Because my only issue with a product like this is this going to break on people? Like electronics and when a smartphone is involved in an app, usually it's crappy, to be honest. And that's what worries me. So would I test this product? Yes. I'm probably going to be testing every product that you're going to show me because I'm a huge proponent of you should always test the products. There's so many products that I never thought would win, and I would see someone crushing with it, and it would like run up 1 million on it, and I'm like, damn, like I thought this would be, you know, solid.
So even when you look at this chart right here in Jungle Scout, and you see this has made 100 sales in its best month. It's right now costing about 20. I'm sure you can get for 15. So the margin's there.
Test anything, but I want to make sure the gross margin makes sense, the numbers make sense. 60% margin is usually, gross margin is what we aim for at a minimum. Is this going to be a product that Facebook is going to hate, and I'm going to just, you know, play cat and mouse with Facebook, and they're going to shut me down every 5 minutes? That's something also I consider, as well as, even though I think with, you know, agency accounts, you can bypass that, but I don't test 20 products a week. I'm not a proponent of that. One of our products that generated 7 million last year, in the beginning I had tested and it broke even for a couple of days. If I had not sat down and really tweaked the funnel and made the product convert, we would have just moved on from the product. I would have missed out on a $7 million brand. So I don't test. I don't like rapid testing. I think you should test one product a day at most, just so you're given the opportunity to tweak the funnel. Where are the bottlenecks? Like, how do we fix this? How do we tweak the offer? Like, it takes some time to really make the offer convert. Two of my brands right now that we launched, when we first started, there was probably like one listing on Amazon for each. You go back to Amazon right now and there is 40 listings, and some have like 29,000 reviews. Imagine the amount of money that we missed out on. And they tell you the reviews is about 2% of the actual sales. So even though it could be, it's not really something that I based my full decision on. That or Google Trends or anything like that.
You would assume it doesn't have a lot of content either, so that doesn't deter you though?
You can always create the content yourself, but you'd be surprised, there's a lot of content, you know, for different products when it comes to YouTube, Alibaba, AliExpress, TikTok. If you really sit down and look on the internet, you're gonna find, like, very rarely do we not find content for a product.
All right, so here's my next product. This is an ice cream making machine. You put fruit into it and then it spits out ice cream. Great product, $1 million product.
These electronics, I'm not a big fan of. Again, we always order the products to our home and try them, to be honest with you, and see how well they work. So it could be something that would work, but I love home products, so that's something I would definitely test, as long as it works and has no issues. The only issue here that you might run into is the type of plug, because it might be US plug versus EU, so that kind of limits the countries and the targeting. All
right, so this will be my final product. This is a very, very generic clothing item, and I know you said stay away from boring products, but when you see this, it's a tennis skirt. It can be very athletic. I've seen a lot of clothing do very well on TikTok. How would you even go about testing this first off, if you would be interested, and would you test this?
I think this is a very, very difficult product to sell. Personally, I'm not a big fan of clothing, especially for the sizing issue, and it's such a headache.
It's got its pros and its cons, but yeah, the returns being, what, 30% on average? That's always something that can be a big pain in the butt. All right, so let's switch into some more questions. We won't look at more products. I don't want to bore people to death. In terms of social life and stuff like that, I don't know if you have a girlfriend right now. When I see entrepreneurs having girlfriends and also managing a bunch of businesses, I'm like, how the hell do they even do that? Do you even have friends? I have like 1 or 2 friends, honestly, max.
It's funny because you always go through like ebb and flows when it comes to this topic. Like, I'll go through phases where I'm just like grinding and I'm really like antisocial and I'm not stepping out and I'm not seeing anybody.
Totally.
And I'm just working nonstop. And then I'll go through phases where I'm like, damn, like, I need a break, and I'll just kind of crash a little bit. But in terms of the best way to do this, from what I've noticed and from watching other entrepreneurs like, you know, Alex Hormozi and other guys that I look up to, and what has worked for me is just setting a schedule and sticking by the schedule. Like waking up at a certain time, whether you want to wake up at 4 a.m., 5 a.m. type guy, or you want to wake up at a normal regular time, which is like 7, 8, 9, whatever. As long as you block your day out in sections, and I've noticed that works the best for me. Ideally, I want to wake up around 6 and start work at 6:30, or at least work out and then start work. Basically, I'll block my day up until 12 p.m., 1 p.m. my local time, where I just grind and it's just uninterrupted work. From that point on, from 1 p.m. say till 5 p.m., It's just me hopping on calls, meetings, working with mentees, hopping in a Discord and whatnot. So at 5 p.m., whether I'm done with my work or not, it's just the end of the day for me. Close everything off, either go spend time with my significant other or with my friends. In the past, what I've done is I would just work aimlessly without a schedule.
Oh, yeah.
And I noticed that I wasn't as efficient because in my mind, in the back of my mind, I always thought, oh, okay, whatever, I'll just get to this later and I'll finish it at 6, I'll finish it at 7. When you have a structure for your day and you have an end time, your brain is kind of wired to, okay, I need to finish this now in the most efficient way and I have to do this quickly because I have a deadline and I can't miss this deadline.
When you're in school, if you have 3 weeks to do something, you'll take 3 weeks. If you have a day, you'll do it in a day. So I totally feel you with having an actual schedule there. You said you have a significant other. How do you spend time? What's it like? How do you actually, do they have to get you off of work or anything like that? Do you have to plan out a schedule for dates? Because I know with my girlfriend, we have a day. It's just Sunday where we do dates and we sort of take that off.
Yeah, I agree with that approach. I think you should dedicate one day I take one day off a week, sometimes 2, depends on how busy I am, just to rewind, or maybe like a day and a half, or like on a Saturday, I'll just do a half day. But absolutely, you need to dedicate one day to your significant other and the nights, right? Depending on your guys' schedule, or even like working out in the morning together, or having breakfast in the morning together, if your schedule permits or your lifestyle. So anytime you can kind of both of you get together and do an activity, whether it's a dinner or breakfast or going to the gym together. And yes, sometimes, you're pretty locked in work and things are going well and you're on this momentum that you don't want to stop. So your significant other will have to tell you, hey, get off the computer.
This was something I didn't think about because when I went 2 years without having sex and I was so horny, I'm like, I will literally date anyone. I don't care anymore. So I think I got really lucky with my girlfriend because what I realized later on is if she was a certain personality type, if she had certain goals, I don't think we would have stayed together for so long because we've been dating for 2 years. There's 3 core things, and I know Alex Hormozy's talked about this, where he's like, you have to make sure you have the same type of goals. Like if you want to achieve big things, which obviously you do, you should be dating someone that wants to achieve big things. And I'm not sure if you agree with that. And you also need to have same daily schedules. Like if you're someone who goes out a lot, they need to be someone who goes out a lot. If you like to stay indoors and work, they need to be someone like that. And then the final thing, you sort of have the same values, whether it's fitness, whether it's like you don't smoke, whether it's hobbies. Like, do you agree that's a big thing? Because I think if I was dating someone who does not want to do incredible things and big things, I don't think I could date them.
I totally agree on number 2 and number 3. As long as that person is willing to allow you to achieve big things, and even if they don't, I don't expect my fiance to just be out there killing it in business. Yeah, it's just like I don't expect that. Like as long as she has something that she's filling her day with that is productive and she's happy, and even if it's staying home and taking care of the kids, and if that brings her purpose, then yeah, absolutely, I'm supportive of that. So it doesn't really have to be that they're gonna do the same thing, they're gonna have the same ambitions as you, because my ambitions are very, very big. And like when I was doing my 9 to 5, I remember a lot of the guys in there were just, I want to just go to work from 9 to 5, be told what to do it, and do not bother me on weekends or after the clock strikes 5, So I'm not that person. Like for me, I'm going to be working till, my last day. Like I'm going to want to just work and produce and build. Because I've dated girls in the past where they just wanted to party. And even when I was in that party mood, it was so much partying and distracting, so much distractions that I couldn't make it work. Like I couldn't see where, hey, like this person is gonna kind of take me in the right direction. They're definitely gonna influence me to go in the wrong direction. Not saying that I don't have a strong will, I do, but you also want to spend time with them, and then you'll start just drifting apart because you're interested in doing certain type of activities, and their priorities are in a different place. So that will cause a rift between the two. So I agree with all 3 points, but the first one, I just slightly disagree with.
I think, where we can compromise is as long as they're pushing you to become a better person. It doesn't matter their ambitions. Yeah. But in terms of websites, I was big on throw up a product, and if it doesn't get sales on the first day, kill it. It's the product. It's not your fault. But now I've changed my thoughts to, give it a few weeks, because a lot of times the first offer and the first ads, they're going to suck. I think there's a happy medium where you can get into the rabbit hole if you try to make a product work for too long and you're going to lose a lot of money. But I am curious, like when you do test a product, what's sort of your process? I think a good thing is like 2 weeks of testing. You do maybe 3 or 4 tests of that product. So, okay, the first test, it didn't work. Look at the data. Okay, if the website needs tweaking, tweak the website, tweak the offer, whatever. Like, how do you test products typically?
I never really look at it from a timing standpoint. I don't really have a exact period of time. Sometimes there's products that I see that I'm like, this product is 100% going to work, and even if it takes me 2 years to make it work, I want to make it work. I'm able to like see that. I take the Elon Musk approach, which is like take a big problem and divide it into very small problems, and then just go about each problem one step at a time. I have a very good understanding as to what is a good product page. Now that I have that, my biggest focus is the creatives. So I'll start testing the creatives, and I'll start looking at, the different steps of the funnel. When you're looking at creatives, you're looking at top of funnel. So you're interested in unique CPC, CTR, CPMs, right? Those are the top funnel metrics that I look at. Then if the product is converting, I'm like, okay, I know people are interested in this video. It's getting clicks. What is it in the offer that will make people convert at a 2% conversion rate plus, right? And then I'll start working on the offer, offering discounts, offering free products in the cart to see what could optimize this. And then I move down the funnel step by step, right? Wherever the bottleneck is, I'll sit down and figure out why this is happening. What could improve this? Can I add post-purchase upsells? It really comes down to, even if you're at a break-even point, you can always make a product convert, and you can always just, all you got to do is run through the funnel step by step, improve every little detail, every offer that you can provide, and then go from there. And then the product is just scalable. I'm
curious if you can provide a solution to the biggest problem that every dropshipper has, and that's high add to carts, low sales. What do you do in that scenario?
It's definitely a checkout issue. I use BetterCart, which allows me to build my own checkout. It's a third-party checkout, so I can edit my checkout like crazy. I can customize my checkout, and that is where we usually make people convert, by adding money-back guarantees. Just having the liberty and the freedom to customize my checkout has really eliminated this issue for me.
Do you need the Shopify premium plan for BetterCart? Because I know that's the big thing, that no one edits their Shopify checkout because of that.
You don't need it, no. You can use the regular Shopify.
And you can add like guarantees to images. Can you do countdown timers, all that stuff?
I try to emulate other brands, like other big brands stores. I don't like the dropshippy countdown timers. I look at the Sephora's, the big brands that are like, okay, like they're killing it for a reason. So I want to look like that, so people can already have somewhat of a familiarity, be familiar with the product page, the brand feel, etc. So to answer your question, one thing you can do is free shipping. Another thing could be something on the offer page that's throwing people off. Could be a currency conversion issue if you're doing top 5 or several countries. You can also add some code where in the Shopify checkout, it allows you to display some trust badges. And if all fails, it's a product issue. If you have made all those little tweaks that I just mentioned, ultimately you want to go back to the offer or the top of funnel.
This is very, very impactful. I love this so far. I just want to look at 2 to 3 websites with you, and I want to get your thoughts on them. But that's a great point about the brand things, because I actually kind of disagree with you. I think there's some things that work with big brand stores that if you try to apply it as a dropshipper, it won't work for you. I think big brands can get away with doing a lot of stupid things because they are a big brand. Their description's kind of all over the place, or the format, it's like not really the most high converting store. And I'm like, if you apply those same principles to sell a dropshipping product, I don't think it's going to work. I think it just works because they're a big brand.
Yeah, I should have been careful with that statement, because yes, you do not want to copy everything from those brands, because they are already such an established brand that they can just not even put a description for the product and people are going to convert because they just trust them. What I meant is staying away from the dropshippy feel and keeping it like a professional brand feel is what I meant.
I'm curious, can you see this website? One of the most successful dropshipping websites of all time. I want to get your thoughts on this. We'll look at it on mobile.
I hate the black background. I just personally don't like it.
It's a very bold choice.
Yeah, it is very bold. I would have went with a white background. I like the American flag, even though this serves as a currency conversion. Yeah. When people land and see that, they're like, oh, okay, it kind of gives them the feel that this is an American company and that people just don't want to buy from China. Summer sale extended. I mean, we're no longer in summer.
Yeah.
So that's something you want to always update it. I would add a customer support email at the top somewhere because people want to see that, okay, their customer support is existent. It's not like going to be some random website who's been abandoned for 2 years. You know what I mean? The title I would definitely change. I mean, I like the TM, but the TM should be Soulset TM, the sunset lamp.
I've noticed over time, I think descriptions are getting shorter and shorter and shorter, and that people really focus on presenting the description and the benefits through graphics a lot more. When I look at this, I'm like, wow, this is 2 sentences here, 2 sentences here, and that's like the whole description. I'm so used to like, okay, you need to have 3 different sections, each need to have 3 to 4 sentences, you need to really be selling. But I've noticed, and like another one, Juice LEDs. Juice LEDs follows this exact same framework. Headline, 1 sentence, headline, 1 sentence. Is that something you focus on when you're doing your descriptions as well, making it super, super short?
Yes, absolutely. People are just visual, man. Nobody wants to read nowadays. Something I would change with Soulset is I would add more GIFs. Like those images right there, I would replace those with GIFs because it's a hack. It's basically a video that people don't have to click on and pretty much demonstrates your product for you. And instead of adding that quantity selector, I would bundle the product into buy 1, buy 2, buy 3, and offer discounts based on that.
I think that's the thing I've eliminated too. I don't use quantity selectors anymore. I noticed like when I looked at the Hotjar, I think 1% of people actually press this. It's so rare.
You want to do it before then. Buy 2, save 75% off. That way it gets your AOV up.
This one's very similar, but again, this is another $5-10 million brand. I mean, projectors are always the rave. I'm curious with reviews, is there anything that you do specifically with your reviews?
We add reviews every day. You want them at the bottom of the page. You want to make sure, you have a review count at the top in the offer. That's really what it comes to. You can also sprinkle some reviews throughout the page when it comes to like other people's experiences and whatnot. It's crucial to always have reviews where people see it. Because when I buy a product off Amazon, the first and only thing I look at is reviews. I don't even read a description. And FAQs. FAQs are very important in my opinion.
What do you think about this compare at price, and what do you think about this only 6 left in stock? A very exaggerated compare at price.
I think that's too big of a discount personally. It almost seems very, fake.
Oh, yeah, it does. Yeah. $147.
In terms of the only 6 left in stock, I would replace that with low stock rather than just like really saying the amount. It's just like no one really does that when it comes to big brands. Like you can do it to a certain extent where it's not dropshippy and kind of fake and believable. Just instead of that, just put low in stock.
Is there anything else you would ever do with urgency? Because I think you said you don't like countdown timers, and I think low stock is like kind of the only other way.
Yeah, I would say like sale today only in the header. So it'd be 50% off today only, or up to 75% off today only. I offer free returns, just like Amazon does. Like you have the little free returns kind of widget. I'm not really a big fan of high urgency because I feel they don't work.
I think people do it because impulse buyers. That's always been the perception that the only people that buy dropshipping products is impulse buyers.
If they're impulse buying, they're gonna buy it regardless. They're not gonna really. It's not really gonna. I don't know. For me, timers have never really made a huge difference.
All right, so we'll do one more. That's more of a brand, Skinny Dip London. They do a lot of interesting things. So I'll scroll through this real quick. They got good trust badges. Very long description.
This is my favorite type of, this is very similar to how I structure my page.
And when you add to bag, spend $5 more for free delivery. Look at that. Yeah. You got the AOV and the checkout.
Since this is a big brand, they're going to buy multiple different things, which will increase their AOV. And they're probably going to buy, a case for them, a case for someone else. It wouldn't make sense to skip cart. But if you're a one product store where you're running an ad to just one product, you should definitely skip cart always.
So if you're a one product, you don't even do warranties or express shipping as an upsell before they get into checkout?
I do that at checkout in terms of for example, I'll have 3 types of shipping. I'll have standard shipping.
Yeah.
And then I'll have, express shipping, which would be $1 extra, $2 extra. And then I would have an expedited shipping as a third option. And that would be the actual amount of shipping, which would be $30, $40 or whatever it is, even if it's so high, it makes that second option so much more appealing.
Okay, so I'm going to try to limit myself to 2 more questions because I don't want to take too much time. And I also want to look at 2 ads. What do you look for in people you hire? How about that? Is there certain traits you look for?
Hunger, honesty, communication. Those are the things that I really look for the most. And I don't really interview much. Like I'll interview a little bit just to get a sense of, you know, their English and you know, who they are, and just to get to know them. But really my interviews are over a month of just, you know, work, and you're just basically under a probation period. A lot of people can be amazing interviewers and they can hit you with the nicest CV, resume, and then they just suck. I've noticed it really comes down to just working with the person for a month or 2 months straight, and then being like, okay, this is a good person. This isn't. I don't really care about expertise or skills. Those are things that are very teachable.
Yeah, as long as they're hardworking. You can train someone to almost do anything, honestly. Media buying, editing. When you do hire someone, how do you make sure like they understand their role, their expectations? Do you set KPIs for them? How do you manage people typically after you hire?
For example, hired a product page / description like creator. Your job is to upload the products, and I'll pick the products for her, and then she'll upload them. Mm-hmm. And in the beginning, you know, just like hop on a call, talk about previous experience. I'm looking usually for like the necessary like skills. Do you know how to operate Shopify? Do you know how to do this? Do you know how to do that? Just to make sure, you know, all the basics are covered. Once that's done, I will provide her with, you know, a list of products that I'm like, hey, you know, we need to do this with X amount of products per day, and those will be the KPIs. And then I'll just like watch her and assist and be there as needed. Hold meetings with her once a week, give it a month to see how she's working, and this would be the trial. Once, you know, the work is done, I'll go in and review it, fix that, and see if those same problems are recurring or not.
I think one thing that no one really talks about is building relationships with your employees, because like it's so easy, especially with like virtual assistants, to just, all right, I'll assign them work and just let them go off on their own tangent. So I'm curious if that is something that you really do focus on, building relationships, because I think even for me, that's something I have to work on a lot, like trying to make out the time and realize this is important to do a one-on-one with this person once a week. Is that something that's on your mind a lot of times when you're managing people?
I think as a business owner or even a manager, it's so important to stay in touch with, you know, your staff. You don't want to really just hire someone and just let them run off. You won't really build that rapport and that connection. And eventually what makes them really trust you and trust your vision is them knowing you as a person and working with you on a personal level. So I make it a point to meet with my staff once a week, at least, answer questions, be there for them, show them that I'm present, and then, you know, go from there. It's pretty crucial if you have long-term vision and goals for the company, to be very close to your staff. And even if they're virtual assistants, like in the past, we used to send our project manager and CS team on trips in the Philippines and for like a weekend, and they would have dinners and lunches and whatnot, and we would throw, you know, Thanksgiving dinners for them, just to build that you know, kind of that family and team bond.
I always think that doing leadership meetings too, just like once a quarter to go over goals, KPIs, all that stuff, get people hyped, is always important too. I just want to do one final thing of just reviewing maybe 1 or 2 ads, and then at the end of it, I think you've definitely earned the right to promote your Discord, mentorship, all that stuff, because I mean, I can see the immense value that you've learned from your experience. And just, I think the thing that I love is I actually can see how you react to these products and these websites, what your instant thoughts are, because it's, you know, theory is great, but seeing you actually do it and in practice is always very fun for me. So this is the typical menstrual relief pad. It's the heating pad. I'm sure you've seen this. When you're thinking of just ad angles in general, I mean, how does your whole process come to when you're advertising a product? Like, you pick the product, I'm sure you're doing a lot of research, benefits, angles, frameworks. Like, I mean, how do you even go about, I guess, advertising in general a product? I mean, is there a certain number of ads you want to have when you're first testing? Is there like certain frameworks you go back to a lot of times? Because I know for me, there's always like certain frameworks. So like, I want a 3 reasons why ad for this product. I want to have a problem solution ad. So like, yeah, how do you go about it?
So usually we go with 3 to 6 creatives videos for each platform, which is Facebook and TikTok. For Facebook, we do 4:5 aspect ratio. For TikTok, typically 916,
Yep.
and we build the scripts for those videos. We don't really just send the product to the editor and they're like, hey, just do whatever you want, because usually you're gonna get crap when you do that. So we'll sit down and we'll build the script, and we usually try to do a different angle with every video and a different hook. If we can make the videos completely different, we do, depending on the amount of footage that's out there. That is for brands that we're testing. As for our brands, like I said in the past before, we'll dedicate an angle for each set. So that's 3 to 6 videos. Those 3 to 6 videos will have a certain angle, but the footage would be different and the hook would be different. The hardest critical thinking part of ecom is building the video. That's like the hardest part, and that is the most important part, because this is your pitch. This is what this is what the customer sees most and what they're gonna remember last. So it's very important that your creatives are on point. And if you want to get into ecom and you want to be, crushing it with ecom, you want to learn how to build solid creatives and how to shoot good videos, or even edit good videos. Not the physical editing yourself, you can hire an editor for that, but build the script for it.
That's a good point that you said that you only focus on one specific ad angle, because I know a problem I had, and it had worked for me, is when I advertised a product, I would literally think, okay, what are like the 3 biggest benefits? And I would try to jam in all of these benefits into one ad. So I'm curious if that's a strategy you do, or do you, like you said, you focus on, all right, for this ad, I'm just going to focus on this main selling point, this angle, because that's the only thing people are going to remember.
Depends on the product. Some products, depends on how many benefits you can really squeeze in without overpopulating the video and making it seem very, crowded and difficult to kind of stomach. But typically we'll sprinkle those benefits throughout the 3 to 6 videos within that set, because that will allow us to understand which benefit will perform the most. And then once we have those 1 or 2 benefits that are just, obviously the winners, we take those and we make those into their own set. And that's how we continuously just improve our CPC, CTR, etc. Some products are so simple that you can jam 2 to 3, even 5 benefits within the same video. But typically we focus on 1 to 2 within the video, and then see which one sticks most with our audience.
So I'm assuming you have very short ads then.
Very short, yeah.
So for this relief pad, I'm curious what ideas come to your head. So this is the angle they're going with. And I noticed they sell to a different persona in a lot of these ads. So like, first off, this ad, all right, my regret about not getting this is I didn't get it sooner. So this is appealing to women, obviously, that would buy this. Just a pretty simple ad, honestly. There's not really any benefits. I'm not sure if this is an ad that you would personally test. For me, because when I look at this, I don't think I would actually make an ad like this. It's basically just following a trend.
I would do more of a play on emotion. Oh my God, my boyfriend just got me this.
Oh yeah, oh my God, he got me the relief pad. They read your mind.
Oh, there you go. That's something that would do very well in my opinion. You just gotta build a story behind it. You gotta always build a story. And play on people's emotions. Now,
I hear that more and more. Everyone's big on there's got to be a story behind it. Like more ads these days, I think, when you send it to a creator, focusing on I statements, like I've had this problem for years, and I found out about this product, and now I've been able to like solve it, etc. And there's a bit of a story to it.
You always want to add a story to it, because that's why TikTok is so powerful right now. There's always stories and trends behind every video.
Now this ad, I will admit, this looks probably more salesy. This is probably more the type of ad that I'm used to. So if you have a problem, you need this. All right, pretty basic shot, then a benefit. I'm wondering if this is something you would do. So, benefit, another benefit.
You always want the straight explainer. Those are just basics that you have to hit with every ad, it's just you have to.
For most products, you're just going to have 3 main ways of selling it. There's usually like 3 major reasons why someone would buy. And you have to present that information uniquely. For a waist trainer, it helps you lose weight, but you have to be able to present that, lose weight in a bunch of different things. Okay, you could lose maybe 10 pounds. Oh, you could lose, a size down. Like you kind of have to say that information in different ways. Let me get into Thrive Cosmetics. I think Thrive is honestly probably the best brand right now on TikTok. So are you big on the before and after? I find when I do before and after, I like to do more of a split screen kind of thing, where it's like, all right, here's my before and here's my after, compared to this style where it's showing and talking in the hook before using a product. I guess both can work.
Both work, yeah. For Facebook, because they hate before and afters, you have to kind of go about it with this style right here. This looks more natural, you know, rather than like the salesy split screen, look at before and after. You're kind of like alluding to the point that it's like before and after without doing that.
Okay, I think this one, I've seen this ad a million times. Very direct response-y. Let me see if I can get into this. Okay, so hook about getting a benefit, introducing product, and then more how to use it. Yeah, this is just a how to use kind of ad.
The direct responsive product ad, they'll always work, especially when the product has a wow factor, which here it does. Like for a woman, achieving this result of like the whiteness and whatnot is something that's desirable and new, I think, in the cosmetic industry. So, or having like massive eyelashes like that with this product, which was actually something that a lot of people were running for a bit.
Yeah, what it looks on one side compared to the other. That's really nice. Yeah, I mean, how to use, I think that's just always going to be a framework that people are really, really interested in. Well, I think that's honestly everything I wanted to cover, bro. So I think I've learned a ton from you. So I think the last thing we have to do is, for all the people that are incredibly interested in learning from you, which I'm sure they are now, how do they reach out to you? How do they learn from you? What's the best place to get in contact with you?
I'm most active on Instagram, to be honest with you. So give me a follow, and you can, DM me on there. I have a Discord group that's linked in my bio on Instagram, and I also have a one-on-one mentorship. So you can just DM me and find out more info about that. If you're just getting started in ecom, Discord is a great place to start. Also, I'm getting active on Twitter, so follow me there. And I am actually going to start getting very active on TikTok and YouTube. I'm going to start a YouTube channel. It's going to be very Hormozy style type YouTube channel with shorts and very short videos where I just talk about, I wouldn't really like sit down and preach. It's not going to be heavily like edited. It's just going to be more of meat and potatoes, like how to do this, how to do product research, how to do this and that, right? So check all that out. But Instagram is the better.
Yeah, we'll put the links in the description, man. I really appreciate it. I think this has been really informative for anyone that's been listening. And I apologize for any stream issues, but we're going to cut this up. It's going to look very nice for YouTube. So I appreciate it, man. I think that'll be it for today.
Thank you so much for having me, bro. This 100%. Was a blast. This was like a very unique, different interview. So I'm very excited to see the final product. Thank you so much, bro.